All right, y'all, it's been a while. Welcome back to Wes's Side Story. Today we're working on the 2006 Ford Focus. We got to put an alternator in it. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is put the car up on ramps. All right, now we're going to disconnect our battery. Here in the engine bay, you go down here. All right, it is right there. That black thing right there is actually the alternator. All right, and if we go under the car, we come back here and we see it right there on the passenger side. But we're gonna take this out of the way. All right, as you see right there, there's a 10mm bolt. Now that that's loose, there is a clip back here. You just take your flathead like that and it'll pop up over that clip. All right, now that that's loose, we'll just take that and put it back here. Let's see, there's some clips. There's some cables right here from that, and we're just gonna pop these out of this, and that way we can move it down more down here. All right, looks like there's a little sensor right here. We do need to remove it also. Looks like there's two 8mm bolts. And then there's also a clip right here. Just be careful with it. Plastic little clips. Now that the sensor's out of the way, we come back over to the car. This just has some rubber grommets on it, so you should be able to just pull it out like that. Get those hoses, and you can also lay that over there.
All right, and we have 2 1/4-inch bolts right here.
Just as a trick or a tip right here, if you see bolts that are corroded like that, just take a wire brush, clean that up a little bit, and that way it'll avoid any strips. You'll avoid stripping your bolts if you clean them up. Oh, much better. 1/4 inch. All right, 1/4 inch. So once this is loose, just to give it a little bit of play, that's all you need. Go and unloosen this motor mount. We have 3, one here, one there, and one right there. 15mm bolts, and that's gonna unloosen the motor mount so we can move this engine forward enough to get that alternator out. All right, so 2 extensions, and there we go. And your motor mount bolts might be tight on there. You know, they're not super hard to get through, but you definitely gotta put some elbow grease into it, all right? You can do this. I always like to loosen them. I'm trying to loosen these. So we'll just take these all the way out of here. That's the 3 bolt. All right, there we go. All right, had to figure out how to pull this off here. But there's just these slide right down on these bolts right here. So you can just pull this whole thing up out of the way. This plastic little shield It is held on by, looks like a 10mm bolt. And another 10mm right there. So once those 10mm are out and your cover, it's gonna look like this. Right there is our alternator pulley, the tensioner pulley, and this is a 13mm. All right, let's take a 13mm with the swivel head, like this.
Get an extension pole to have some leverage. Here's a belt diagram for reference.
All right, so now that you got the belt off and out of the way, the alternator is up there. And we got what appears to be a 15mm there. That thing just snaps on there. Yeah, so there's that. Looks like some kind of vent. Uh-oh. Yeah, about 15. Coming off easy enough. All right, with that 15mm bolt loose, we're gonna go back to the top of the alternator. All right, now at the top of the engine, that 15mm bolt is right there. Now with the top 15mm nut off, you can get this plastic cover off. Goodness. Oh, you can fish it out of the top. Now we go back down under the car. All right, so now back under the car, we're going to remove that 13mm bolt. That one's 15mm, and that one's a 13mm. You do
A 15mm ratcheting swivel head wrench will work perfect.
All right, so now we got that 15mm nut off. Now we're going to remove that 13mm bolt. Now that that 13mm bolt is out, looks like the bottom is free. We're going to go back up to the top. All right, so that stud we're going to thread out of there, and it is a 1/4 inch on the end. It's got a little socket tip there that you can put a 1/4 inch socket on. All right, so on that stud there was an additional
15mm nut.
that I didn't know about. So I stripped the top of my stud. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do, how I'm going to get that out. All right. So if you did like I did, and you strip the top of your stud off, which it's not wanting to show up, but there's the stud. So what I did was I pulled my alternator all the way out to the end of that stud. So this stud, if you're going to take it out of the top, you have to pull it out. So since I stripped the top of it off, I'm taking my pipe wrench and grabbing the smooth part of that and turning it out. So I'm turning it with my pipe wrench. So that's if you strip it. All right, here you go. I got that top stud out, and you can see where I stripped mine. It is a E8. E8. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. So it is a star bit, or a star socket. E8 star socket for that stud. Also, if you manage to strip this with a 1/4 inch socket, once you get the stud out using the monkey wrench, you can take your E8 socket, kind of hammer it down on there and fix these threads a little bit so it'll actually, so you can put it back in there. I hope y'all don't do that, but if you do, strip this thing. At least I told you how to get it back, get it right. All right, now that that's out, this thing should start coming out of here. Let's see, get it off that bottom stud down there. All right, on the back of this, for this little plastic cover, I think it's a vent of some sort to kind of keep the alternator cool. There is a 13 millimeter bolt right there. So we'll get that off. Now that that part is out, you can see your clip connector there. So we're going to go ahead and unclip that. Now remember, if this is slid back, especially after doing the serpentine belt, you need to pull your engine back again, or back like forward, to give you that clearance. So all right, let's see if I can get this thing out of here. All right, and there we have it out. So I did a few things after I pulled it off that stud. There's a video that the guy left the cables hooked up. I did, and I took them off while it was down in that hole. So this one is a 9 millimeter, and this plug, let's see, right there's the 9 millimeter one. And the plug is right here. It's just a push plug, and you pull it. Just be careful, don't break them. They're plastic. They're old. All right. So it's gonna take some finagling to get that up out of there. I brought mine out of there like this. Once I started pulling it out with the wires out of the way, it was a lot easier. This motor mount I ended up having to pull over and give myself about another inch. And I did use a ratchet strap to make sure that the motor didn't come back and pinch my arms. All right, and here's a part comparison. So they look right to me. Yeah. I don't know if that helps. I don't think whoever designed this thing ever meant for this alternator to come out of this car. All right, so now that I got that alternator out of there, I'm gonna go in the reverse order, putting it back in the car. I definitely hope that this video is helpful. Just for time purposes, I'm not going to show every step putting it back in here. If you got this far, you can put it back together. So, all right, good luck with all your repairs out there, guys. Thank you for watching, and God bless.